Hey everyone, and welcome back to another tutorial video. In today's video, we're going to be using some AI tools that are pretty popular right now in the space, and we're going to see if we can build a Web3 application using them. We'll be using those AI tools to see if we can build ourselves our very own NFT minting page, and we're going to use thirdweb as well to add some Web3 components and to deploy our very own smart contracts. So an overview of what we're going to be doing in this video, we're first going to design the UI of our application or our landing page using something called V0. Then we'll take the code that we get from the generated UI and plug it into Cursor and use AIs like Claude to help us finish up and clean up the application. Then we'll integrate thirdweb and change out some of the components to allow a user to connect a wallet and to mint an NFT. And we'll also deploy our very own NFT smart contract using thirdweb's dashboard as well. So with all that being said, let's jump onto the computer here and let's test out these AI tools to see if we can build ourselves an NFT landing page. So the first AI tool that we are going to use here is something called V0. And we'll link this down in the description below, but essentially it's a AI chatbot. And what it's going to do is actually generate us a UI and design the whole UI of what we ask it. And the cool thing about V0 is it actually builds out the UI components and everything using something called Shadcn, which is a popular UI component kind of collection that many people use nowadays. So we're actually going to be able to take the components exactly how they're designed here. We'll just install Shadcn into our project when we create it, and we should be able to get a one-of-one copy of whatever we generate here using V0. So I kind of have a template of what I want to ask V0 here. We're saying to create an NFT claim landing page. The hero section should have an image of the NFT to the left and content to the right, which should have a button to claim the NFT. Below, we have some information about the NFT and the creator. And below that, we should also show some features and benefits that holders get. And also at the very top, there should be a nav bar with a connect wallet button. So that's the prompt we're giving V0 here. We're going to send this and it should then generate us a UI here. It should actually generate for us right over here. You can see it's generating the code. And there we go. We can see a preview. Everything's kind of coming in and getting laid out right here. You can see we have the image, the name of our collection, a little claim button, connect wallet button here at the top as well. And then it has the NFT section and about creator. And then it has this holder benefits where it creates some cards and gives you some benefits that you can then edit, of course. So this looks pretty good. Everything that we said it should have, it's here. Maybe we want to split this section right over here. So we can ask follow-up questions and just say, can you split the about NFT? And so we're going to add in, can we split the about NFT and creator section into two separate sections and give them an image? So we're going to see if it can kind of split these two sections and make them maybe bigger sections with an image on the left or right. We'll see what it does with the UI here. So again, you can use V0. It's free to use. You do have some credits and everything that you can use. And then, of course, they have paid versions where you get a little bit more features and everything like that. So you can see there, it's splitting the section here. Split the about the NFT. It's adding the about creator section here. And then it has some holder benefits again down here at the bottom. And then I believe it had a little footer at the bottom too at the very end. There we go. So there it is. That's our NFT landing page. We have the name here, which we can adjust later. We have a button for connecting wallet, which we'll replace with thirdweb's component here. We can again get an image of our NFT and we have some information, a claim button, and some other information about the artist and some benefits for our holders. So I like it so far. I like this. If we check this tab here, you can see it's going to provide us with all of the code that it generated to build exactly what we see here in the preview. Now up here at the top, you're going to see this add to codebase button. So when you add to codebase here, it actually gives you the command to run to import all of the Shadcn components that you're going to need in order to build this page out here. So we'll come back to that in a little bit. But the next thing we're going to do is build this application out. So I'm gonna open up my terminal here and we're gonna create a new Next project. So I'm gonna run npx create next app and I'm gonna call my project Web3 AI here. So we're gonna use TypeScript. We're gonna say yes to ESLint and Tailwind and yes to source directory and app router. And we're not gonna change the default import alias here. So we're gonna change into our Web3 AI folder here. So I'm just gonna clear that. And once we're in our Web3 AI folder, we're actually going to open this up in the Cursor IDE. And now Cursor, if you aren't familiar or haven't heard about it yet, Cursor is the brand new AI IDE out there. You can see here on their page, the AI code editor. And essentially it has some AI tools built in where we can chat with the AI and it can make some changes and everything to our code. Again, we'll link this down in the description below if you want to try it out as well. You can head on over, download Cursor here. I'm going to head back to my terminal and I already installed this shortcut here. So we're going to run Cursor here and it's going to open this up in the Cursor IDE here. So I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit so we can see here. And we have a Next.js project here. So if I open the terminal here and I'm just going to use bun run dev to run this locally here. Open this up in our localhost 3000, we should see the Next.js template right over here. So the next thing we're going to do is, again, if you remember when I mentioned V0 uses Shadcn for all of its components when it builds out these UIs here. So what we need to do is import and install Shadcn. So Shadcn is basically a component library. It's a collection of pre-built components. If we take a look at their docs and you go to the installation, you can then choose the framework that you are using. We're using Next.js. And then all we need to do here is install Shadcn. So we can come here, we can select our package installer. We'll use bun. And then I'll come back here. I'll open up a new terminal page. And then we're just going to paste that in and install Shadcn here. It's going to ask you what styles you like to use. I'm just going to use the default and neutral here. And will we like to use CSS variables for the theming? I'm just going to say yes. And that should then install Shadcn into our project. So if we take a look back at our project here, you can see some changes have been made to the text and everything, which is totally fine. We're going to make those changes and style it a little later on. But we're going to come back to our V0 chat here. So we want to take this design right over here and make that our landing page for our NFT. So again, I'm going to come back up to this little icon, this little code icon here, and it's going to say add to codebase. When I click on that, what I'm going to do is copy this command right over here. And then I'm going to come back to Cursor here, and I'm going to paste that command in my terminal here. Just close this off for a little bit. You can see here, this is going to run npx shadcn at latest add, and it's going to actually take the URL given of our generated chat there, and then it will import the components that it generated for that UI design. So this is the same thing as if you were to come to Shadcn here, and you were to add a component with the CLI. You basically run npx shadcn at latest add, and then it gives you a list of the components and everything that you can import. In the V0 here, let's look at the code base here. It's actually going to import everything here, which in this case is just, I believe, the button component from Shadcn. But if you generate a UI and it uses other components, copying that command there and then running it in your terminal under your project will install all of those there. So we're just going to run this. We're going to say yes, install the following packages, and there you go. So we should be good over there. So I'm just going to close my terminal. We don't need to have that open right now. And I'm going to open up my directory here, go to the source folder, in the app folder, and I'm going to go to the page.tsx file. And this is that template that we're seeing right now in our application. So if I come here and I go to our app, this is this thing right over here with the Next.js and some links and everything to their docs. So what we're going to do is come to our V0 chat, come to the tab that has the code here. We're going to copy all that, and we're going to come back to Cursor, and I'm just going to select everything on this page, delete it, and replace it with the code that we got from V0. Save that and come back to my app, and there you go. You can see we kind of got everything here. You can see some of the colors and And the theming here need to be adjusted. But we have NFT claim at the top. We have a connect wallet button. You can see the broken images here, which we're going to just replace with images. And then we have our title here with our claim button. And yeah, let's just, adjust some of the styling here. And we can simply just take a screenshot of this. And then we're going to come back to cursor here. And in cursor, we can come over here, open up the side chat menu here. And if you're new to Cursor, you can basically chat with AI and it'll actually make changes live in your code base itself. You have the options to choose the model that you want to interact with. From my experience, Claude 3.5 Sonnet has kind of been the best when it comes to interacting with a code base here. And then we can start asking it anything. We can actually just take the screenshot that we just took and paste it in here. And we can just say, we're not going to reference the current file here because we can ask it to, so I'm just going to ask, can you make the global style changes to make this a light themed app? So we're going to run that here and let's see what it gives us here. So we can see here, it is saying that we first need to update the main background and text colors. So we can actually just come here to our global CSS file. And let's find the layer base here. So this is where it is telling us to make that change. There's this little apply button here. So let me just close this out so we can see it. So this is my global CSS file. We're going to hit this apply button. We're going to apply it to our global CSS. We're going to hit continue. And you can see here, it is actually showing us what code it is going to add and remove from here. We can then accept or reject it. We can go line by line if we want to. I'm just going to accept all and trust that it is making the proper change. So once we made those changes, if we scroll down here, it says these changes will set up a light color theme for your application. Now let's update some of the components here. So it's giving us different components to update, but I don't think it thinks or knows that we have this all on one page here. So we're going to come here and we're going to add context and we're going to add this page as context. So it references this page and we'll just say you update this code with the new light. So we'll run that through cursor here and it's going to reference the page.tsx because we added it to the context here. And you can see here, it is going to generate everything. And this should be all light themed and reference our new global CSSs here. So there you go. It wrote out our code. So I'm just going to scroll back up here and we're going to, let me just hit reject here. And we're going to come up here and I'm going to hit apply and we're going to apply this to the entire file. So you can see here on the left side in my code, it's going to go through everything, make all the changes that it suggested, which should just be kind of just changing some of the text and the divs, which it looks like that is what it is doing. So I'm just going to accept everything and hit save. So coming back to my app, there you go. It looks much better now. It is all this nice white theme here. We have our nav bar, which just has a connect button. We have our hero section, which has an image, the about NFT section, about creator section, and our holder benefits here. Let's add a little bit more. These are kind of stretching out a bit far for my liking here. We want to keep them a little closer together. It looks like this section and everything is aligned to the left as well. So we'll come back to cursor. We can actually just select sections here if we want to. So we can just select this section here and we can just say add a max width to center items more. And it'll make the changes there, which is just really adding a max width to this. Save that. And you can see here now, takes that max width. Things are a little bit more centered right over here. We'll do the same thing for the other sections as well. So the about NFT section, the about creator section, we'll say add a max width to center items. And we'll save that, come back here, and there you go. So we have things a little bit more centered here. These ones are okay. They're spanning their 3 here. So yeah, everything is looking a bit better. We're using Cursor and its AI tools to make little fine adjustments to the design here, but everything so far looks good. So now that we have the design that we like, let's now actually get this working with an NFT smart contract, and let's actually be able to claim something. So what I'm going to do is actually deploy ourselves an NFT smart contract. We don't have a contract yet, so I'm going to go ahead and deploy one. So I'm going to head to thirdweb's dashboard here, and I'm going to sign into my account. Once you do that, we're going to head over to the contracts tab. And in our contracts tab, we can then deploy a contract. So up here in the top right, I'm going to hit deploy contract. That's going to bring you to our contract explorer tab. And we have a bunch of pre-built smart contracts that are already pre-audited that you can deploy in just a couple clicks. So what we're going to do is we're going to deploy this NFT drop contract here. It should be under the popular section. If you don't see it there, you can just head over to the NFT section and you should see the NFT drop contract in there. So over here, NFT drop contract, if we click on that, you can read a little bit more about the NFT drop contract. You can view the functions, the events that it emits. You can take a look at the source code here for the contract itself. But we're going to come up to the top right here and hit deploy now. And in here, this is where we're going to supply our contract with some metadata. So we're going to call this our AI demo NFT. You can give it a symbol, you can give it a description. So we'll just say this is a description of the NFT that we are creating. Cool. So I just added a description there. We can upload an image of the image for our contract, which I'm going to do here. So I have this little night image, which is actually AI generated as well. So that's going to be my image for the contract. And then we can set up things like the primary sales. So if we sell this for a fee, this is the wallet address that it's going to be sent to. Royalty fees, this is for secondary sales. We can set royalty fees to an address and percentage. Platform fees as well. And then we have gas lists if we are going to add gas list transactions and everything in here. We're not going to do any of that here. But we are going to come down to the bottom here where it says deploy options. And in here, we have a drop down where we can select what network we want to deploy the smart contract to. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to deploy this to a testnet, and we're going to use testnet funds. So essentially, we're not using real money here. These are testnet blockchains meant for developer and development purposes. I'm going to use the Sepolia testnet. So my wallet's going to open up, ask me to switch over to the Sepolia testnet. And we're going to have, you can see Sepolia right over here. Now, if you don't have any Sepolia testnet, you can actually come here to our thirdweb chain list. And we actually have faucets available for testnet chains. So all you need to do is come to the chain list website here. We'll link this down in the description, and you can type in Sepolia or whatever testnet that you are going to be deploying on. And what we can do here is once this searches, you can see here Sepolia testnet, which is this chain. You can see here, we have the Sepolia testnet. So I'm going to click on that. And right over here, you can see we have a faucet available for us. So we can actually get 0.01 ETH every 24 hours. And you can just click on that. It'll claim and you'll be sent 0.01 ETH, which should be more than enough to deploy contract and interact with it. So again, you can come to this. It works with any testnet has a faucet, and you can also view how much is within that faucet as well. So you can make sure that there are actually funds within the faucet for you to withdraw. That is how you can get testnet funds. So once we have that testnet fund, we can come back to our dashboard here, back to the deployment page, make sure we're on the Sepolia testnet and hit deploy now. We'll get a transaction that appears right over here. We'll confirm that. That is to confirm the deploying of our contract. We'll then be given another prompt here. This is to sign a transaction to add it to the thirdweb dashboard. So once our contract is deployed, you can see here, adding to dashboard, we'll get another prompt right here. We can just sign this and confirm that we want to add it to the dashboard. And once that is all done and confirmed, we can view our contract. It'll then take us to the contract dashboard page here. And you can see we have our contract right over here. So the next thing we can do is on this contract, you can see we have a contract checklist here. So we already deployed the contract. We can follow this checklist. So the next thing we need to do is upload an NFT. So head to the NFTs tab, and that is right here on the left. We'll go to NFTs. And right over here, we can upload the metadata of our NFTs for this contract. Now, you can batch upload. So if you already have the metadata set for all the NFTs in your contract, you can just upload those files here. I don't have anything set, so I'm going to do a single upload, and we're just going to call this NFT number 1. We'll give it an image, this little goblin character. You can give it a description and everything, but I'm not going to give it anything else besides a name and an image here. And we're going to hit lazy mint here. And this is going to prepare the metadata for this one NFT to our contract. So if you want to do this individually, you can, but you can also set up the metadata itself for your whole collection. And again, batch upload all of that to it. So once that has been lazy minted, you can see here that it is added, and there is no owner yet for this NFT because it hasn't been claimed yet. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to add a couple more NFTs, and then we'll be right back. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. Come here, we'll just say NFT number 2, give it an image, and then lazy mint it. And I'm going to add just a couple NFTs to my collection here so that we can claim them on our application. So there's one, and then we do one more here. We'll do NFT number 3, and we'll add one more right here. Cool. So I have 3 NFTs ready to be claimed on my NFT smart contract. Next thing we need to do is we can just head back to the overview page here. You can see we completed task number 2 of uploading our NFTs. Task number 3 is to set up our claim condition. So within our NFT drop contracts, they are claimable NFTs, but we need to set up the conditions in which these NFTs can be claimed. So you see here, it says head on over to the claim conditions tab. So we're going to head on over there, and we can add a claim phase. Now there's a bunch of different claim phases here. There is public, which means it's open to everyone. You can set your fees and everything to claim the NFT. We can also here say only owner. So only me, the deployer of the contract, can be able to claim NFTs. You can do an allow list, and then you can do a combination of public overriding with an allow list as well. For this tutorial here, I'm just going to select public, and I'm going to just put 0.001 as the cost to claim the NFT here. So I'm going to set that there and then save my phase here. And we should get a transaction here that appears. We're going to hit confirm. So we're setting again the claim conditions for our NFT here. So there we go. That has been saved. So once that's done, let's head back on over to the overview. And you can see the next ones are to claim our first NFT. So we're not going to claim our NFT just yet. We're going to finish building out our application. But now we have our NFT contract ready to go and ready to be claimed. So the next thing we are going to do is install the thirdweb SDK into our existing project that we have. So we're going to head on over here to our documentation. We are in the Connect under our React here because that is what we are going to be using. And we can just come here to the left and go to the Getting Started section. And we're not creating a new project. We technically already have an existing project here. So you can see here, we can just install the thirdweb package here, and we can then follow this guide right over here to setting up thirdweb. So I'm going to come back to cursor here. We're going to close out the AI chat on the side, open up my terminal over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use bun. So we're going to use bun install thirdweb. But you can use npm, pnpm, or yarn as well. Cool. And once we have that installed, we'll close this out. Let's take a look back at the documentation here. So first thing we need to do is set up the thirdweb provider. And basically, we need to wrap the root of our application with the thirdweb provider component. So coming back to cursor here, we're going to come to our layout.tsx file. And right over here, we're just going to wrap our application here with the thirdweb provider. Let's just take this end tag here, paste it in there. There we go. Then we need to import this here at the top. So we're going to say import thirdweb provider from, this should be thirdweb, got the B, thirdweb/React here. And that sets up our application to now use the thirdweb SDK. Coming back to the docs here, the next thing we need to do is create a thirdweb client. So thirdweb client, we first need to head over to the dashboard and get an API key that we're going to use. So we're going to come back over here. We're going to come to our thirdweb dashboard. I'm just going to open up the settings tab. In the settings tab, you'll have API keys, which should be the first page that you get here. We're going to hit create API key, and we're going to call this our Web3 AI project. And in here, you can put in the allowed domain. So this is going to be the domain that you want to allow access to this API key. You're going to put in your domain in here if you already have a domain or once you deploy this to a domain. We're just going to say a localhost here, or actually we're going to do HTTP localhost 3000. Which is just our local host that we're running our application on right now. We'll add and edit this later on. We'll hit create. Oh, I guess we don't need the HTTP here. We just need localhost. There you go. So you're going to be given your client ID along with your secret key. And you can see here, there's a warning that you don't want to share or expose your secret key and that your secret key cannot be recovered. So if you lose your secret key, you need to generate a whole new client ID secret key pairing. So you need to confirm that you have stored it securely. And then we can come to our Web3 AI project client ID or API key here and copy our client ID here. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to come back to cursor here. I'm going to open up my file directory here. And at the root of everything, we're going to create a new file called .env, and I'm going to say .local here. And in here, we're going to just paste our client ID here for a little bit. We'll come back to that in just a bit. So coming back to our documentation here in thirdweb, and if we come back to the step we're at, which is creating the thirdweb client. So we created our .env file. We created our API key. We created the .env file here and added our client ID there. Next thing we need to do is create a client.ts file and add this code snippet here. So we'll come here back to our files. And in my app folder here, I'm going to create a new file and call this client.ts. Come back here, we'll take this code snippet here, and then we'll paste that inside here. So right here, we're creating a variable client that we can use throughout our application. We're using the create thirdweb client here, and we're providing it the client ID, which we are storing in our environment variable. So I'm going to take this environment variable name here, come back to our .env, and paste that in so it references the correct client ID. Close that out. We don't need that anymore. And then over here, we are using TypeScript here. So we're just going to say as a string. And now we have our client set up. So that is step 2 there. Next step, if we scroll on down a little bit more, we can connect a wallet. So we actually have pre-built Connect Wallet UI components with thirdweb. All we need to do is provide it the connect button UI component and give it the client that we just created. So what we're going to do here is in cursor, I'm going to come to our page.tsx file, and I am going to find where our connect wallet button is. So in this design here at the top navigation, we have this connect wallet button that was created for us. So if we take a look at our application here, it created this connect wallet button here. We're going to replace this with the thirdweb one. So I'm going to come back to cursor, and I'm just going to, for now, comment that out. And below that, I am going to add a connect button from thirdweb. And again, this connect button takes our client and will import that client from the client.ts file that we just created to create that client. And then we'll hit save. Come back here. And now at the top, we should see this connect button here. Now we have this connect button that opens up this nice connect modal, allows our user to sign in with different methods using in-app wallets and these Web2 socials, passkeys, phone numbers, emails, or they can connect any Web3 wallet. And we support over 350 different Web3 wallets with the connect button here. So if I wanted to, I can just connect my MetaMask here, connects my MetaMask right over here. You can see I have some Sepolia ETH and everything in here. And I now have connected a wallet to my application. So I'm going to do some quick editing here really quick, just some quick fine tuning. In my connect button here, I am going to switch the theme to the light theme here. So now right over here, when we click on the connect button. It gives us a nice light theme. The button is now this dark button here, which I'm going to change just a little bit. So we can say connect button here. And we're going to say the label here. We're going to change this label to say connect wallet. So if we come back here, now we have this button that says connect wallet, and it gives us our options right over there. So now we have a way to connect our wallet. Next thing we need to do is we need to fix these images and everything and this information to match that of our NFT collection. So what we're going to do next is come back to cursor. And the first thing we're going to do here at the top is we're going to create a variable, and we're going to call this our contract. And we're going to create a wrapper for the contract that we just deployed. So we're going to say get contract here. And we're going to supply this with, let's see, what does get contract want? We need to import get contract first from thirdweb. And it wants our client, our chain, and the contract address. So again, we can provide it the client here, which is going to be our client from our client.ts file. The chain here, in this one, we use Sepolia. So I'm going to import Sepolia here from thirdweb/chains. And then finally here, it wants our address of our contract. And that address, I'm going to store in our environment variable as well. So I'm going to get a next public NFT contract address, go into our .env.local file, paste that in, and then come back to our contract here, copy our contract address, come back in here and paste that in here. So now we have a wrapper for our contract, and we can start pulling metadata from the contract, and we can also start interacting with the contract to claim our NFTs. So first, let's just get some data from our contract here. We're going to create a variable here, and we're going to use the use read contract hook here from thirdweb, and we are going to get some data back here. We'll rename this data our contract metadata. And in our use read contract here, we are going to get our contract metadata. Now with thirdweb, we have something called extensions here. So extensions are going to allow us to easily interact with the blockchain here. So in our documentation here, we're going to be using this extension called get contract metadata. And get contract metadata does exactly what it says. It's going to get us the metadata of a given contract, and all we need to do is provide it with the contract to get our metadata from. So we're going to use the get contract metadata. In here, we're going to say get contract metadata. We are going to import this from thirdweb/extensions/common. And in the get contract metadata here, what we need to do is provide it the contract, which we are going to provide it the contract that we created right up here. And what we can do here is I'm just going to console log contract metadata here. So we can take a look at our app, and we are getting error here. Oh, so let's come back here. And at the top here, we're going to make sure that we tag our page here with use client. And there we go. So now our app should load. We're getting a bad request. Oh, this is for our image. Okay, yes, we're going to fix those images later. But down here, you can see we're getting our NFT metadata back. We have the description, we have the image, and we have the name of our NFT, which we can replace here with the description, name, and image. So we're going to use that data that we're getting back from our contract to replace what has been built here in the UI. So coming back to cursor, we are going to replace a few things here. So let's just replace the name here, which we are going to get this, and this is going to be our contract metadata dot name. We can replace the description here, which is going to be from our contract metadata. Yeah, contract metadata description there. Okay. So yeah, if you come back here, we now have our name showing and the description here. So the next thing we need to do is replace the image itself here. Come back here, and this is the image here. So we're not going to use the image component here from Next. We're going to actually use something called the media renderer from thirdweb. And this is going to allow us to provide it an IPFS hash, and then it'll actually render that image out for us. So we're going to use media renderer here. We're going to import that from thirdweb React. provide it with our client, and then we're going to provide it with the source here, which is going to be the contract metadata image. We'll then give this a width of 400 and 400. Oh, these should be strings here. 400 and 400, and then we'll give it style here, and then we will give it a style of a border radius, box shadow, and border, so it kind of matches the styling that it had of this image here. We'll just comment that out for now. Then coming back, there you go. We now have our image here, the name of our contract, the description of our contract, and we have our claim button, which we're going to make some changes to and everything right here. Now, we also created sections about NFT and about creator. I'm actually just going to scratch those sections out, delete them, and we'll just have this holder benefits section here. So I'm going to come here, and of course, you can create your own sections as well using the tools that we just went over. But I'm just going to delete that here. Save that, and there we go. Come back to our app. And we have our NFT, and then we have our holder benefits down here. So next and last thing we need to do here for our application is just add a button here to actually claim our NFT. So right over here, I'm going to come, and this claim button here, we're going to go right under it. This time we're going to create something called a transaction button, which is from thirdweb. It's a UI component here that we can use. And it's actually going to be really easy for us to build a button that interacts with our smart contract. So we're just going to have this button here say claim one NFT. And in that button, we'll just save this for now, and we'll take a look at our application. So you can see here, we have a button here. It's disabled. It says claim one NFT. It is disabled because we don't have a wallet connected to our application here. So this button will only be able to work when a wallet is connected to our app, and that's because you shouldn't be able to interact with the blockchain unless you have a wallet to interact within. So we're going to get rid of the other button now, so we can just comment this guy out. And now let's build out this transaction button. So if we take a look at the transaction button here, it needs a transaction to execute. And what we can do here is for that transaction, we're going to get another extension here. If we take a look at our documentation, and that extension is under ERC-721, which is the type of contract that we deployed earlier. And we're going to actually call the claim2 function here, claim2 extension, which we can see here, claims an ERC-721 NFT to a specific address. So we're going to use that extension here, come back to cursor, and we're going to call the claim2. And we're going to come up to the top here. We're going to actually import claim2 from thirdweb extension / ERC-721. In this claim2 here, what we have to provide it, let's take a look. We provide it with the contract, the address we're sending it to, and then the quantity that they are claiming. So the contract is going to be there too. We do need to get the contract address. We'll just leave that as a blank string right now. And then the quantity, we're going to say 1, but this has to be a big int here. Big int 1. So we have to now just get the address that we want to send the NFT to. And we can do that with a React hook that we have through thirdweb. So I'm going to come up to the top here. And oops, what's going on here? And we're going to create a variable called account. And we're going to use a hook called useActiveAccount. And what this is going to do is get us the active account that is connected to our application here. So within that account here, we get the address. And we can just say address, and then we'll say as a string. Right? So we're getting the account that's connected. We're getting the address of that. And then we're setting it as a string to the account that we should send it to. And then finally here, we'll say on transaction confirmed. We'll give it an async here and say it should just alert that the transaction has been confirmed. So now we have a working button here. So we can come back to our app, see if this works here. So we can claim one NFT. We can't claim it just yet because we don't have a wallet connected. Let's connect our wallet here. I'm going to connect my MetaMask wallet. Now that I have my MetaMask wallet connected, I can actually hit claim one NFT. It should open us up a window saying switch to Sepolia network. switch to this Polio network. And then it brings us up our transaction here, charging us the 0.001 ETH. You can see here, I will receive the NFT token ID 0. And what I can then do here is just confirm that. So we're going to mint our first NFT here. It is going through, and we should get an alert once this NFT is minted. And there you go. You can see we got our alert saying transaction confirmed. So we can hit OK. We can actually take a look back at our dashboard here. You can see on the checklist, our first NFT claimed has been checked off. We come to NFTs here. We should see that, yep, my wallet address right over here has been the one that claimed the first NFT, which is token ID 0. And there you have it. With the use of a few popular AI tools, we're able to generate a UI for our NFT claim landing page. We're then able to take that code, plug it into Cursor, use Cursor's AI powers to make some minor tweaks, and we are able to now build ourselves an NFT claim page along with deploying our very own contract using thirdweb itself. And you can see how useful and easy these tools can be to get you up and running building your Web3 apps. So I hope you folks enjoyed this video and you found some value in it. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on more tutorials just like this. If you're looking for more information, we'll drop all the links that we discussed down in the description below, along with a link to our support team so you can open up a support ticket and we can help answer any of the questions that you may have. But again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video. Can't wait to see what you build with AI. Until next time, see ya.